to start the Cheryl Reeve Show with a thank you. Thank you to Freehouse and to all the people who showed up at our last live show. It was a great crowd. It was a Monday night. It was like a rainy Monday night, and the place was packed, and it was very obvious very quickly that it was packed with your fans, people who wanted to hear from you, who talked to you, interact with us and the show. It was a blast. The next live show is July 17th, 6 p.m. at Freehouse. We'll also do a show August 15th, 6 p.m. at Freehouse. Please come out. It was so much fun, and it was great seeing people in person. This is the Cheryl Reeve Show. This is part of the talknorth.com podcast network. As I emphasize every show these days, please download the shows before you listen if you can. We appreciate all listeners, but that would help us out. And thanks to Brandon, our producer. Thanks also to Lynn Hall. I will tell you more about Lynn Hall in a moment and their program. Because this show is about so many things, but persistently it is about strong women, I have a shout out for my wife. She became principal at Rush City Elementary School up there in Rush City, Minnesota, and I'm very proud of her. She worked crazily to put herself in position to get all the qualifications necessary for that job. She's a great educator, so congrats to Stacy, and let's get on to your team. You won. I just heard you telling the assembled media that, hey, one victory, let's not pretend every single problem is fixed, but you look pretty good. What's your assessment?
We did. Well, first, I'd also like to echo your congratulations to Stacy. Clearly, the brains behind the operation.
More than the brains. The brains, the spine, the guts. I mean, pretty much, she's got it all going on over me.
Well, I'm happy for her. I think that we spent a week together. The team just sort of identifying some things we wanted to be better at the next time we played a basketball game. And I think, we tell the team all the time, it's not about wins and losses, it's how you're doing it. So sometimes you can lose a game, but you know that you did a lot of things well or the way you wanted them to. You didn't win the game. You can win a game and not feel good about how you did it. And so that was what our focus was on how we're doing things. And I thought the players had exactly the response that we were looking for.
So the question, I keep on asking you about your bench, and you keep emphasizing how important it is that your starters play well. But the bench is kind of the mystery here, and how you use the bench is kind of the ongoing mystery. You used a lot of people in different ways or for different amounts of minutes the last game. Did you find something, or is it going to be a constant evolution game to game, how you use your bench?
Yeah, I thought that, the real thing that we thought as a coaching staff we wanted to do better was, more consistent rotation. I think we found ourselves, listening to the narratives about, aging players and I found myself in games, whether it was aging players or, the falling in love with the 3-point shot, that, we had to have a certain number of shooters on the floor at one time. And I just didn't feel like we had any groove to what we were doing. I thought we were writing off players, like a Rebecca Brunson, writing her off, too soon in a game. But what happened was the first couple games that we played, people just sat in Sylvia Fowles' lap, and we weren't able to exploit it. That's not new. This was not a surprise to us. By the time we hit midway through the season last season, Syl began to get double teams, sometimes triple teams, and we handled it much better. So I think we all of a sudden we started, we go to LA and I play Lindsay Whalen just, 7 minutes, whatever it was. Playing Simone Augustus 15 minutes in a game at Connecticut, or playing, Rebecca Brunson 13 minutes, whatever it is. And it's just not the path that I want to go down. And so we had to recommit as a staff about how we do things, who's at the core of what we do. So that was the first thing we wanted to clean up. There's no question that our bench is important. There's no question about that. We've seen that the last couple of years, that when the bench, knows their role, they come in and play their role. It allows the starters to get the proper rest that they need and allows them to peak perform in the minutes that they get in the game. And so, we have a lot of things going on. We didn't feel good about the rotations we had early in the season. We didn't feel good about, our second team's understanding of what we were doing. And so I felt like through the first 9 games I was having outer body experiences. I didn't recognize so much of what we were doing. And so I felt like, we were just a boat riddled with holes, and we were just leaking everywhere. And we were just running around trying to, plug them up, and plug one and another one would burst. And so we just had to kind of go, let's return to basics. And who do we want to be? What can we be and who do we want to be? And just lock in on those things. Now, a part of that success is our second team. So I hope that it's not a mystery, the rotations that we have. I think that, very clearly Danielle Robinson is Lindsay's backup. They share a game. Simone Augustus was out, so that slides up Tanisha Wright as a starter. And Alexis Jones now gets minutes behind Tanisha as a 2. We did that. Chechi Zandalicini is Maya's backup. The difficulty in being Maya's backup is that Maya's going to be on the floor at least 30 minutes a game, so there's not much left. And so in a way to get Chechi out there more, we were able to move Maya to the 4, which, again, we've done that through those 9 games, but it was more effective, I thought, this last game that we played. And then, Zandalicini getting extended minutes, that allows her, to gain confidence and grow. She's just 21 years old. She'd be, an older junior, late senior. That's pretty darn young, playing in the WNBA, playing for this team, trying to defend a title. So I'm not as confident in our post rotation right now. I think that maybe some things that we had hoped for in our offseason signings in Kaiser and in Miam have not come to fruition to this point. Temi Fagbenley has been somebody that we've been able to count on. So she's getting any remaining minutes from Sil. And then we just decided recently, she had such a great week of practice that she needs more than 10 minutes behind Sil. And so now you saw a lineup that we showed a little bit was Fagbenley and Fowles on the floor at the same time. And so that proved to be good activity for us. We liked it. We liked the energy that we had out there, and for the most part, the execution we got.
Was just watching it at the end of practice. Rebecca Brunson was taking a lot of 3-point shots, a lot of shots in general, but a lot of 3-point shots. Is that anything new for her?
No, it's been, after the 2016 season, coming into 2017, she's always somebody that's worked. But, prior to the 2017 season, I think she had taken just 13 or 14 threes in her 13-year career. And so when she came into 2017, she increased the training from 3. And so since the start of 2017, a part of her routine is the number of shots she gets up from 3. There's not a player that I have that works harder than Rebecca Brunson at shooting the basketball. There's not a player that works harder. And we've seen tremendous progress. And, that was the thing for me. I thought, there's not a better, maybe Maya Moore when she goes to the 4, but I do not have a better player on this roster at shooting the 3 and stretching the defense than Rebecca Brunson. And so we sort of, like I said, when we lost our way a little bit in terms of our identity, that was having Rebecca off the floor more than on the floor. And that's something we should have learned from in last year's finals, that we need Rebecca Brunson on the floor. We need Rebecca Brunson being an active defender, an active rebounder, and then somebody that can knock down open threes. And that's what, she got some open looks against Dallas that didn't fall. But as you saw, she works, she shoots it well, and, she's self-made. Everything about Rebecca Brunson, she's self-made. This is a person that was blessed with tremendous athleticism, tremendous heart, tremendous will. And she has honed her skills through her entire career, and there's nobody that works harder.
How are her knees doing right now?
Knees are doing okay. So I told her the silver lining in me botching, her minutes. We did have a minute restriction we were trying to make sure that I stayed at, but it went too far. I had her off the floor too much. And so the silver lining in that was her knees started to feel better. And so as soon as I ramp up the minutes again, but it's just going to be, that's her life. That, is managing sore knees. Every basketball player, football player, whatever. That's just a part of it. I just don't want her to cross the line. Sore is one thing, but pain is another, and I want to make sure we're avoiding the time that she's feeling pain.
Thanks to the Free House in the North Loop in Minneapolis. You've probably been by there, and hopefully you've been by to see the Cheryl Reeve Show. Also want to thank the Lynn Hall, located at 2640 Lindale Avenue, South Minneapolis. They are our newest partners. The Lynn Hall is an incredible restaurant, event space, kitchen, TV, studio, and more. Lynn Hall provides wholesome food, teaches classes, and makes delicious drinks. No matter what you are hungry or thirsty for, they will have you covered. The Lynn Hall also has a trio of exciting events this summer called the Wisdom Series, featuring change makers in our community. The first event was a couple of weeks ago with Michelle Tafoya. The next event is featuring Lynn Casey on July 19th. Tickets are $25, the proceeds benefiting the Young Women's Initiative of the Women's Foundation. Visit thelynhall.com for ticket information, and Lynn Casey's a prominent local CEO. I'm always fascinated when I watch one of your practices by the launch monitor. That it recites the angle of the shot that has just left the shooter's hand, usually somewhere between 42 and 48 degrees. How did you come across that idea?
Yeah, I love the name launch monitor.
Yes.
In layman's terms. It's the NOAA trajectory aid, shooting aid. So I came across this, we were trying to pinpoint it. It was, I don't know if we're in our third season with it, but we were in the off season, and I either read about it or something. And sometimes when I read about something, I'll shoot it to Claire, our assistant general manager, and say, see what you can find out about this. And so I don't know if it came from something Shelley read, my assistant coach, or where it came from, but I know that we took a deep dive into it. And we said we want to know more about this, because I had a few players that did not believe me that their shot was not high enough. The trajectory needed to be greater. Now, I know this from personal experience, because as a shooter myself, my younger years, I didn't have good trajectory. The number one thing my father would say all the time, you got to get more arch. He called it arch, not arc. Cheryl needs more arch. I'm like, okay, but it's arc. But he was right. Get it up. And so I'm highly in tune to the idea of how successful you can be. And then, just so knowing what trajectory does. And so I have a player in Simone Augustus who's a tremendous mid-range player. But she would consistently shoot at what we now know to be like a 38, 39 degree trajectory at the rim. A perfect shot is 45. And so in order for Simone to increase her range, she needed to understand the further you get from the basket, the higher it needs to be. You can't shoot a 38 from three and expect it to go in because the cylinder size changes based on how high the ball is. The cylinder is bigger when the ball is at a certain height. And so not literally, but figuratively, right? That what we would say what a ball sees when it comes down towards the hoop. And so I would, Simone and I would have knockdown dragouts in the middle of the game, like, Mom, get it up. And she's like, Coach, I'm trying, So we'd have knockdown dragouts. She's like, I'm not missing on purpose, And I said, well, if you get it up, you won't miss. So this constant, fight that Simone and I would have, or Rebecca Brunson, other post players, other players along the way, Lindsay Whalen, that we wanted to improve shooting as the game was evolving. We needed to become not just a mid-range team. We wanted to start evolving, being able to shoot threes. And so we got very, very quickly, we got it together. John Carter is the CEO of a company called Noalytics, and they have an app on the phone that you can log in before you shoot, before you work out, log in, and any shot is going to be registered while you're logged in. And so you can see on the app when you're done places maybe that your trajectory is a problem, maybe the left wing, maybe the right corner, whatever it is. And so that allows you to train more effectively. Okay, now I know my hot zone. God, I'm really good from the left slot. I got to make sure I do more of that in the game. That's my hot zone. Or I have a place that I'm not very good. I probably should turn down these shots in favor of better shots. So it just gives you more information. And I say it's kind of like the cool uncle. The parent says something. In this case, I was the parent, telling them this cool uncle, this system that tells them. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, now I understand it. And so the cool uncle is Noah, and it has helped us improve tremendously.
And which player has benefited the most from it?
I would say Brunson. I think Simone, it's still a battle for her. The difference is for Simone is that she understands it now. Sometimes she doesn't agree even with Noah. It'll say 39. She's like, that wasn't a 39. Yes, it was, Simone. But I would say that Brunson, I'm trying to think through the years, these couple years, not so much someone like Amaya, but Simone, I think from the three ball, if you look at, the other impetus was that, Moan before the line got moved back was shooting about 40%. When the line moved back, she dropped into the 20s from 3-point range. And so then when we got her training on Noah more consistently and an all-out commitment to it, her percentage is now back up over 40. So I would have to say Simone and Rebecca are probably my two. I think